That's a perfect example of what I want to talk about this morning. When we awaken to that inner passion, it's about quieting our mind and listening to that voice of spirit within our heart, and sharing it with the world, right? So we're starting our August CSL theme today, which is My Passion, My Purpose. And today's topic is awakening to your passion, whatever that unique passion is that's divinely given. Each one of us has something special that makes us unique. That beautiful quality of joy and energy, and we're born with it, right? Although we may lose contact with that feeling of joy as we go through life and mature, it's always there, just waiting beneath the surface for us to rediscover it, to quiet our mind. And as we let go of trying to meet everyone else's expectations and rediscover that unique higher self within us, we rediscover our enthusiasm for life, that most of us had as children, that enthusiasm that will reveal our God-given passion, right? It changes everything when you come from the inside out, right? So we get to choose how we live our lives. When we choose to follow our divine guidance, we will be guided to wholeheartedly share those unique gifts with the world. Now, curiosity is a passion of many people. And here is one example of how curiosity has guided many people to discover their life's purpose and fulfilling careers. So there's a space rover named Curiosity that's about the size of a car, and it landed on Mars in August 2012. It was launched in November 2011, created by the Mars Science Laboratory mission as a part of NASA's Mars Exploration Program. Today, NASA and many Earthlings are still following Curiosity as it's exploring Mars, right? It's still in action. And Curiosity was designed to assess whether Mars was ever inhabitable or could be in the future. And it was named by 11-year-old Clara Ma. So here is her essay that won the naming contest. Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in everyone's mind. It makes me get out of bed in the morning and wonder what surprises life will throw at me that day. Curiosity is such a powerful force. Without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. When I was younger, she's 11, I wondered, why is the sky blue? Why do the stars twinkle? Why am I me? And I still do. I had so many questions, as America is the place where I want to find my answers. Curiosity is the passion that drives us through our everyday lives. We have become explorers and scientists that, with our need to ask questions and to wonder. Sure, there are many risks and dangers, but despite that, we still continue to wonder and dream and create and hope. We have discovered so much about the world, but still know so little. We will never know everything there is to know, but with our burning curiosity, we have learned so much. Right? So that passion, that creativity of life, it's there at the beginning, and as we get older, we become an adult. And sometimes our passions get buried and hidden beneath the responsibilities of taking care of our families and our business, whatever it is. So we become so adult that we can forget that unbridled joy of childhood, that we would lose ourselves while exploring a new playground or a campground, or pretending that we were our favorite musical artist, right, with the microphone, or just daydreaming as we watch the clouds go by. I think that Kellyanne has a post on her Facebook about an angel cloud, right? So when children are young, they let their creativity run wild and free. If you just watch Rosalina on Sunday morning, you'll see that. They're not self-conscious or worried about what others think of their actions. There's a minister, CSL minister, Reverend Lisa Carson, And she prepared the draft outline was my starting point for what I'm talking about today. But in the August CSL theme talks, but she tells a story about a young girl named Lori, I think it's really Lisa, who was shy and introverted, and yet felt that she had something to share with the world. And so at age 5, she loved the energy and the aliveness from her father's flower garden in their front yard. And so every evening one summer, Lori was drawn to that garden where she walked up and down the flower beds and she singing to the flowers and sharing her ideas out loud. She was oblivious to the passersby as she confidently belted out her songs and spoke lovingly to our plants. I think maybe like our poinsettia that's still in beautiful bloom. Right? She came back day after day because she felt so energized, happy, and joyful. Right? And as Lori grew up, her shyness subsided. And she grew up to be a teacher, and then a minister and an international teacher. Her natural passions paved the way to a fulfilling life, moving her beyond her fears. Right? Now, this could be Reverend Lisa's story. She grew up in Paradise, California, where she began attending the Paradise CSL and CSL teen camp at age 14. After college, she taught for several years and then became an ordained CSL minister. Currently, she is the spiritual director of CSL Thailand, of all places. I can remember my children demonstrating joy and passion with that innate spontaneity and freedom. You know, my son thought that it was perfectly wonderful to wear a ballet tutu with a superhero cape, a little mask over his face, colorful rain boots, and a rubber sword as he saved the world, right? Of course, that's what you do. Now, my daughter Gabriella was a little more complicated. She loved to play clothing store in her bedroom. And so she would take all of her clothes out of the closet and hang them up wherever she had room to display them around the room and create her store. Now, I can remember walking in and seeing her clothes hanging from the bedposts, the lamps, the bookshelves, the windows, the chairs, everywhere. Just one big store. And just to get the impression correct, she made big sale signs, right? Like what she saw as a store. So for a few weeks at a time, as long as she could still walk through her room to get to her bed, my husband and I tried to let the store remain in place so her friends could come shop in her store. Right? But periodically, the store did have to close for a while so we could vacuum and dust and wash her clothes. But it was her passion. And she worked in several clothing stores while she was in high school and college. And she was also often salesperson of the month because she was so good at helping her customers pick out complete outfits, right? Not just one piece, but the whole, the jewelry and the hats and the shoes and everything that went with it, right? So Ernest D. Chu, not our Ernest, in his book Soul Currency said, "Watch children at play. For them, a cardboard box becomes a castle. Dolls become part of the family, and video games allow them to save the universe." Right? What gets them hooked on these things, right? It's they can be something greater than they are just in their little world. But they're planning for the future, letting that getting still and listening to that passion within. But sadly, in our society, we teach our children to suppress those inner passions and creativity. Their sense of purpose gets shifted, if you will. We tell them to be practical. You're never going to be an astronaut. You will never earn a living as a novelist, right, or as a musician. You know, superheroes with a cape, they're not real, we tell them. And that concoction you're making in the kitchen, you think it looks so great, but it tastes awful, and you're making a mess. Now clean it up, right? What do we do to suppress that natural creativity? We shame our children and make them wrong for having unrealistic goals, but they're just discovering the world, right? What if we encourage them to discover the world on their own terms and to trust their inner intuition? What if we teach them to live their lives with joy, to be curious and creative, to think outside of the box, right? Too many adults find themselves living lives of drudgery and trapped in unfulfilling jobs just to fulfill society's expectations or to earn enough money to afford their expensive houses and cars, and it can seem pointless, right? In the poem that Nancy read this morning, The Invitation by Araya Mountain Dreamer, it was first written in 1995 and then in a book of poetry, and then she republished a whole book called The Invitation, which is about the meaning of the poem to her and how you can take that into your life. A fabulous book. But I can remember listening to this poem for the first time during a year when I was in that sandwich generation, taking care of my young children and my parents who were starting to need a little extra medical care. And then my first husband was diagnosed with cancer. So I was caring for 3 generations and still trying to work on occasion. So I really identified with so many of those lines about my heart's longing and the resilience necessary to stand up to for what I was passionate about, right? She starts out with, "It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing." Right? Another line is, "I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for your adventure of being alive." Like really being alive. The line that grabbed me the deepest, though, was, "I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children." Right? Get them to school. Araya reaches inward to that place where spirit dwells, to our inspiration and our passion for life with that line, "I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fades away." You know, our passion and our inner joy, our zest for life is still there even when life around us seems to be dark and overwhelming. It is that divine spark that has created us. It is that divine passion that is always there. You know, the alternative to feeling that our life is like overwhelming dead end is to turn within and rediscover those inner passions, still our mind, as Kalyani was singing this morning. What is really important to us? Those passions, what we care about, what grounds us and connects us to who we are and what matters the most in life. You know, there's always something new to be discovered, to be created, to share with the world, to support someone else as they share their own discovery. Oprah Winfrey, in her book, The Path Made Clear, Discovering Your Life's Direction and Purpose, says, "There is no greater gift that you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become most truly alive." Right? Now, one of the interesting things is that when we're given this passion, our unique gift to the world, we're also given the means to actualize it, to manifest it, right? It's like 2 sides of the same coin, right? And so if we think we have this passion and we can't manifest it, well, we need to flip over the coin, and maybe we've got the world around us and we're insisting that we're going to go through this door. This one is it. It's got to be this one. And the world is 360 degrees around us. It goes up and down and around and forwards, backwards. There's other people. We only have one answer, and the universe is infinite. And so it's about opening up to really drilling down to what our purpose is, right? Is it love? Is it sharing wisdom? Is it supporting other people in service, right? So these passions, what we care about, they ground us and they connect us to who we are and what matters the most in life. It connects us to our source, to spirit. So we have to be aware that with that initial spark, that flame is always there. And by focusing our attention and actions with our desires, infinite wisdom will reveal a path toward our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And just by following the next step, maybe that's as far as we can see, we experience a feeling of inner joy, of recognizing the possible synergies that align with our passions. Our confidence and trust in the power and the presence of the divine, it grows as we find that we think we're stepping out on a skinny little twig, but we're supported. We're supported, right? We can see the potential power of the creative process to manifest our divine gifts and our purpose. We don't need to worry so much about being perfect as being fully present, right? In 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking about how we align our purpose with our passion. And Kevin Cashman has what he calls the 3 Gs. What are our gifts that energize us? What are we giving to the world? And how do we need to grow to develop and stretch ourselves to make the world a better place for ourselves and for humankind? We have these gifts, and how do we develop them into a full, mature gift to share with the world? But today, I want to focus on connecting with our passion as a divine gift that sustains us and supports us. In the Bible, in Romans 8:28, it says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, who have been called according to God's purpose." Yeah. Michael always likes to talk about how the universe is conspiring for our good, right? To support that passion. When you're Christian Sorensen, who's the minister at CSL in Encinitas, in his book, Living from the Mountaintop, he says, when your energy flows, your vibration is raised. The best you've ever felt is the result of this upliftment as the force moves through you with an unparalleled strength, right? You're on your game, if you will, right? Now, an example of how this happens is a man named Billy Mills. He was born in 1938 in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, a member of the Ogallala Lakota. He grew up in poverty on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and conditions weren't great there. His mother died when he was 8, his dad when he was 12. And so he started running to turn his energy into something positive, and running became his passion. In high school, he started setting records in numerous track events. He earned a track scholarship from the University of Kansas and graduated with a degree in physical ed. His college track team won 2 national championships while he was there. Right? Then he served as an officer in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve and was in the Marine Corps when he won gold in the 10,000-meter race at the 1964 Olympics in Tokyo. Right? Now, before the Olympics, Mills was largely unknown. So he shocked the world when he came from behind to win gold and set a new world record. He is still the only American to have ever won gold in the 10K event. Now, he has a quote following that Lakota teachings. He says, "When you know who you are, when your mission is clear and you burn with the inner fire of unbreakable will, no cold can touch your heart. No deluge can dampen your purpose. You know that you are alive." Right? Now, the 1964 Olympics were the first time that Americans were able to watch the Olympics on live TV. And so it was I'd like to share that magical moment with you. I'm in a brief recording.
An amazing finish by Billy Mills. And here we go.
He's 722.
Gold medal in the 10,000 meter. And up front is Bill Mills. He's pressing Ron Clark, the world champion. Bill Mills of the United States, number 722, is leading Ron Clark. And in third place right now is Mahoutha Gamuni of Turin. A tremendous upset if Bill Mills can hang on. But Gamuni goes out ahead. It's Gamuni right now leading in the 10,000 meter. Ron Clark is third. Rather, Bill Mills is in third. Ron
seems to be boxed in. Suddenly there's an opening, and here he comes.
Here they come down the final out. Ron Clark, Captain Mooney, they're going through the field. He's coming up. He's passing to Mooney. Look at Bill! Look at Bill! Look at Bill! Coming on! Mills is coming on! It might be Bill Mills! What a tremendous surprise here! Bill Mills of the United States wins the 10,000 meters! Bill Mills, the United States, a tremendous upset, wins the 10,000 meter here! From Harold Wonder from Kansas.
Let's go back.
So it's yeah. So I mean, it's amazing. But he just did what was his passion. He loved to run, right? And all the things that he went through, and the announcer that was saying, oh, watch Bill Mills, and he was so excited. Well, they weren't used to having that kind of drama in the on television recordings, and so he actually got fired for being so excited about the, But anyway, it's a little different to these days. But now in the Lakota culture, they have a tradition that when you have great success, you give back to your community in gratitude for all the support that they gave you along the way. And so he helped found Running Strong for American Indian Youth and became their national spokesperson. And he's now 85. He lives in Sacramento with his wife of 60 years. And he still travels 300 days a year to speak to Native American youth about healthy lifestyles and taking pride in their heritage. And running, they sponsor a lot of different events like this to have a healthy lifestyle. So he's giving back. His passion is still fueling his life. Now, many successful adults have credited their achievements to the activity they naturally loved as a child. So find out what brings you joy. Notice what simple experiences when you were young erupted into that laughter and delight, right? Discovering your passion could be just a few mindless moments away. Let yourself take time to daydream. Let go of that container that you create with your self-conscious thoughts that keeps you boxed in, and instead free you and reclaim your purpose, your passion, and unleash the momentum of expanding into your purpose. Right? Trust the spontaneous options that show up during your day. Take a new path to work. Talk to that person you meet at the grocery store or on the hiking trail. Get down on the floor and play with your child or your grandchild. Dance as if no one was looking. Let your passion lead you to discover and express your divine gifts. Let's take this to prayer. So as we turn within, we feel that sense of joy, that divine sense of the presence of Spirit that is within us, that is that spark that burns within our heart. And as we still our minds, we know that God is wonder and beauty. God is wholeness and love. God is joy. One with all that is, for it has created all that is from itself. And we are one with that inner spirit. It is the truth of who we are. It is our higher self, our passion. And so take a moment. Take a deep breath. And let your awareness travel back to a carefree and joyous day when you were 5 or 6 years old. What fills you with wonder? What makes your heart sing? Enjoy the moment and note how you feel. And now shift your attention to the present. When do you have similar moments in your life? How is that initial spark of joy and passion being expressed? Has it become a central part of a passionate and purposeful life? Or is it a buried passion that lies beneath the surface, waiting for a free moment to bubble its way to your conscious awareness? If so, let it out. Remember to come back and spend some more time enjoying your passion. And now think of a moment when you feel fully alive, a moment when the joy and passion you feel cannot possibly be contained within your skin. A moment when time seems to stand still and you feel in harmony with the whole universe. This is your God-given passion and your unique gift. And as you awaken to your passion and share your gift with the world enthusiastically, you'll find yourself living out loud. Not only is your life filled with joy, you are enriching the lives of everyone around you in big and little ways. It is so good to be alive. It is so good to connect with who we are. It is so good to feel whole, to feel loved, and to love. It is so good to share our gifts with the world. So good to be part of the universal life force that unfolds and protects each one of us, that guides us forward to express our higher self. It is so good to be dancing through life with joy and wonder and passion. I say thank you to the universe. I shout thank you from the mountaintop. I say yes to my life of passion and joy. And as I release these words, I feel the shift within my heart and soul. I am home. All is well. All is God. All is good. And together we say, and so it is. Yes.